Recording in progress. Hello and welcome back to another guest episode. I'm really excited. We're bringing on Emma Brambell. Now, I met Emma at the tail end of last year at an event that I was speaking at, and she is just a ray of sunshine. She really is. Um, she is a multi-business owner. She is I believe a former army wife, but she was an army wife. Mother. She's got multiple businesses. She has literally created them from the ground upwards. And I'm really excited to bring her on this call. Like, she has the most beautiful energy, and I'm excited for her to share her story and while I jiggle myself about and yeah, give you guys the energy and the knowledge and the wisdom and all the little golden nuggets that she has with her time being a business owner, being a mum, and her unsure to unstoppable story. So we will be back in just a sec with Emma. All right, we're back, and we have the beautiful Emma with us, who's going to take us through her unsure to unstoppable story. Emma, thank you so much for coming. Like, it's so nice to see you. We very much clicked when we met back in November. So we're just going to dive in. This is Emma's first podcast, which I'm so excited about. It's so exciting. So, you have a vast life. You've had so much stuff that's happened within your life. But let's go back to the kind of before it all. So before the multi six figure business, before the co-founders, because imagine people will imagine based upon like your confidence that it's always been there, but I'm going to assume that it's probably not always been there. So if we rewind right back, who was Emma before all of it?
So Emma, before all of this, Emma, well, she wanted to be a good girl and she wanted to fit in and she wanted to sort of, I suppose for want of a better description, be teacher's pet, really. I like to do things properly and I like to get things right and everything like that. And it sort of all went horribly wrong right from the get-go, really, because I never fitted in at school. And actually realised quite quickly that I'm not a conformist. And however hard I try to conform to things, I never did. So I got expelled from school. I was told that I wasn't particularly intelligent and I wouldn't go anywhere. And for a while, I sort of believed that, and I sort of made myself a bit smaller,
Yeah.
and sort of kept my head down, and didn't push any buttons that I didn't need to push and things like that. And so I sort of drifted a bit, really, in sort of my early 20s. As I did some traveling, I worked in wine bars, I, worked in, sort of service fronting businesses, things like that. And just sort of muddled my way through. And then it was when I was 22, actually, I thought, right, this crap about me not being intelligent and not being interested in books and learning and things like that, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
And I decided to go to university, and I went as a mature student, and I studied history. Absolutely loved it, and I got a first. So straight away it was just like, no, actually, I am somebody that is not what people try to pigeonhole me as. And from that, on the back of that, I then started work in event organizing and sponsorship. And that was a sort of world that I chose specifically to go into. And again, it was something that had happened to me that sort of shaped me as a person. In the sort of mid-80s, I had a boyfriend at the time, and we were out in town, and he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he was beaten up outside this nightclub, and he sustained very serious head injuries as a result of it. And in the 80s, there wasn't what was available now. The rehab treatment was very specialist. It was only available privately, and it would cost £96,000
Wow.
for Daz to have this specialist treatment, and his parents didn't have it. Nobody
Mhm.
had this money sat around doing nothing. So I thought, right, okay, there must be a way around this. There must be a way in which we can raise this money. So I set up a fund, and
Mhm.
I galvanized all of the sort of local community. I was in the papers every week. I was on radio. I was on TV. I even made it into centre spread of Woman's Own. And for a year, this this was what I did, and became a sort of bit of a local celeb, really. But all of it was about, no, there is this problem. I will not have this problem stop what needs to be done. And I
Yeah.
found this way around this problem. And I did raise the 96,000. And I think I
Mm.
worked it out the other day. I think it was something like about 3 million or 600,000. I don't know. I'm not a numbers girl.
Equivalent. Mm-hmm.
But it obviously worth significantly more in today's
Mm-hmm.
money than it was in the early 80s. And again, that taught me that actually, I can solve problems. I do know how to get myself out of a hole or anybody else out of a hole. I can work things around. I don't like taking no for an answer.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of experience, then I went to university. It was on the back of the university and my degree and everything. So I ticked a couple of boxes in my sort of self-doubt, I
Yeah.
suppose. I can problem solve. I am intelligent. I can put my mind to something and I can succeed and succeed very, very well in it. So on the back of my university, I then went up to Newcastle upon Tyne and I worked for a chamber orchestra up there, and I was running their events program and their sponsorship program. And again, absolutely loved it because it's different. The work is vibrant. You're meeting different people all the time.
Mm.
You've got an agenda that you've got to do. You've got to make things happen. And I did. And I worked there for a couple of years. I raised all the money that they needed to do. They had a multi-million pound fundraising program, which I succeeded in doing for them. And from there, I moved to Cambridge University and I did the similar thing there at Cambridge University. And whilst at Cambridge University, I met David, my husband, and we next month, it's 30 years of marriage, which we're very excited about. And but
Mm-hmm.
David was in the army, and that meant then, right, well, are we going to be weekly commuters? So we're going to have a marriage where I might see him every so often.
Yeah.
Or am I actually going to say, right, okay, so that chapter of the sort of corporate Emma, the, high end on, running businesses and big sponsorship programs, that's neatly summed up in one word, over.
Mm-hmm.
And David and I got married, and so began 21 years of David's final 28 years in the military, where I was his wife and I traveled with him. We moved every year, every 2 years, maximum every 2 years, we would move. In fact, in those 21 years, we moved 17 times.
Amazing.
We traveled everywhere. We went all around the world and quite a lot in the United Kingdom as well. And in that time, for 11 years of it, I was a stay-at-home mum. We had three
Mm-hmm.
children. David was often deployed, all sorts of places. And so I was the person running home and bringing up the children. And I kept myself busy. I had little side hustles that go on. I can do sculpture, I can paint, I can transform a tatty piece of furniture into something really rather beautiful, all self-taught. But it was a way to sort of make little bits of money and also keep my brain going.
Yeah.
I wasn't just all about nappies and kids and baby food and sleepless nights.
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward to and 2002. So we're now back in America. It's the second time that we've been in America and living in America as a military couple. And our three kids were now going to school all day.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, we've got 2 years in America and it's glorious, and I've got lots of lovely friends and I'm loving the expat life. So I'm not going to panic too much about what the hell I'm going to do when we get back to the United Kingdom. But I did think I can't just step back into the world I was in before David and I got married, because that had moved on so
Yeah.
much. It was very much a world based on not what you know, but who you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, right, I need to do something. I need to retrain. And I decided to retrain as a teacher. And I chose specifically to teach secondary and to teach RE in Catholic schools,
Right.
because I knew that it was a shortest subject, and also it would mean that every time I moved, I would get a job. So
Yeah.
have to worry about it. And it's quite fun. I mean, I remember when you heard me speaking at the Business Revolution event in November, I said quite openly, I'm not particularly fond of kids. I'm not a natural person saying, yeah, I'm a teacher for the rest of my life. But I knew that I could do it, and I knew that I would love the structure of it all,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the ability to have a room full of people that where it was make or break. It was up to you to inspire them. It was up to you to engage them. It was up to you to get them to follow
Yeah.
you, do what you wanted them to do. And I thought, I know I can do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I did all my training, and I became a fully qualified teacher, and so began 13 years of teaching, and I absolutely loved it. And I was right. I was never out of work. Every time we moved, I got another job. So
Yeah.
was, my brain again being used, and my values being used, all of that sort
Mm-hmm.
of thing. And then it was in 2021. I've been working in this school in Surrey for a long time, and I'm now head of department. I've been a head of year there as well. And my mum had dementia, and it was now kicking up a pace, really.
Yeah.
And mum was getting more and more and more disabled by this foul disease. And we had carers and all that
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing. And my sister was really sort of having the brunt of it all. And I thought, I want to be I want to be there. I want to be with
Mm-hmm.
my mum. I want to be shoulder to shoulder with my sister. So I decided basically to sort of empty my glass a bit, which was full to capacity and nicely full. I decided to empty it, and that looked like, for me, leave teaching, move
Mm-hmm.
back to Leamington Spa, Warwickshire, which is my family home. It was where I grew up, and I did, and I left, and I came back to Leamington, and with Sarah and I, my sister and I, cared for mum for the next few months, and right up, we were with her when she died. And it was a real privilege to have been able to
Mm.
have done that. And I think if I hadn't have done that, I think I would have carried guilt
Yeah.
as a result, because I could have been there,
Mm-hmm.
I should have been there, and I wanted to be there. So I made a decision in that moment to just drop everything that was about career, that was about money, that was about, pension, future, whatever,
Yeah.
in order to, I suppose, hold on to one of my values. And mum, the ability to do that and to be with mum, I'm so grateful for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, so had that experience. Mum died in August 21, so it's
Mm-hmm.
5 years this year since she died. And I think any person who's listening to this, if they've lost a mum, you know what that pain is. There is no other
Mm.
pain like losing your mum, because you don't expect your mum ever to die, to ever
Yeah.
leave, to never stop being the person you constantly are turning to and talking to.
Mm-hmm.
And I took it bad. It took a while to sort of come to terms with it, really. And I'm still, still grieving, but I'm at peace a bit more, really. Um, but it did mean then that there was sort of a few months where I didn't really know what I was going to do with myself, and I started to get a bit bored. And I thought, right, this isn't good. Bored Emma isn't a happy Emma.
Yeah.
And I knew I didn't want to go back into
Yeah.
working full time and working full time for somebody else. And I thought, I've always wanted to have my own business. I've always wanted to just see, am I an entrepreneur? Is
Mm-hmm.
there sort of craving inside me, something, an itch that I've got to scratch? And I decided that was the only way to do this was to start scratching it. So
Mm-hmm.
I am a very creative person. I'm really into interior design, and things like that. So I actually completely by accident ended up setting up a neon sign business. And it was because I wanted one, and I was sort of shopping around, and I thought, oh, they're all a bit naff. And I thought, well, I wonder if I can sort of source the actual manufacturer, and then I could start designing stuff and things like that. And I did, and I managed to do that. And so from that was born the first business, which is My Perfect Neon. And it's still there, it's still ticking away, and I'm still selling signs, and I'm still designing signs. And I've done all the big shows like Ideal Home and Grand Designs, and loads of
Wow.
wedding shows and stuff like that, where I've set up my stall and had all my beautiful signs and taken orders and designed stuff for people, bespoke, all of that sort of thing. And I absolutely loved it.
Mhm.
But then, of course, what happens is that you realize sometimes with some businesses, brilliant idea, but it's such a competitive world to be in because you're being undercut all the time by
Yeah.
on retailers. And unless you've got that very niche market, which is what I wanted, which is the bespoke stuff where we're hand making stuff in
Mhm.
glass, the traditional way and all that sort of thing, it's it's not a flow of orders and cash coming in. So I realized that I needed to start doing something different. And then the cleaning businesses were born. Now, am I a cleaner? I mean, what does a cleaner look like? What's a cleaner meant to be look like?
Yeah, yeah,
You don't look like a cleaner. Loads of people used to say to me, "You don't look like an RE teacher." I mean, what is any of these sort of
yeah.
people meant to look like? I'm good at cleaning. Again, it all boils back down to the fact that I am obsessive about detail. Things need to be perfect, all of these sort of things. So, and having, military houses and
Yeah,
17 of them, and
yeah.
having to clean them every single time to march out standard, I kind of grasped, that
Mhm.
it's not just wafting a duster about. And of course, people always need cleaners. So the first of the cleaning companies was born, and that's My Perfect Cleaner. You can see there's a bit of a theme, My Perfect Neil,
Mhm.
Perfect Cleaner. And that is thriving.
Yeah.
And it was just me to start off with, and very quickly got booked up. Then I started to employ, and we get booked up again. So then I employed some more. And then in January last year, David, who by this time has left the army, and he's now worked for big, big corporate companies and running all their sort of crisis management stuff, their pension schemes, their logistics, all of it, huge, right up sort of high level directorships of these businesses. And I just said to him one night, I said, fancy coming and joining the business because it's exploding,
Yeah.
and I can't do it all on my own, and I need
Someone. Yeah.
there's something solid next to me that is going to go, right, we're doing this way, this way, this way, this way, because I'm the face, I'm the puppy, I'm the one that's going out, we've done
Yeah.
this, we've got this, and then I need somebody to level it all out, really.
Yeah.
And so last January, David joined, and last year was extraordinary, really. We went from, a few £1,000s turnover every month to multi six figures turnover.
Wow.
And we've now got to the point with that where with the cleaning businesses, we've got commercial, we've got biohazard, we've got big deep cleans, one-offs. We're actually this evening starting a week's long deep cleaning in a big commercial property in Warwickshire. So we've got all of these customers. We've got a growing number of domestic customers. We've sort of honed this brand beautifully, and we're now looking at the franchising model aspect of it, and that's sort of a
Wow.
two-year plan for that, for the franchising of those businesses. And this weekend that we've had, which was a sort of a group of fellow cleaning business owners all sort of gathered together in a room. Now, we weren't charging each other for that. We were sat there sharing our expertise and knowledge
Yeah.
about different ways to run businesses with each other. And that's now saying, well, hold on, can we not do this for all
Other people.
cleaning
Yeah.
companies? So it's it's evolving.
Yeah.
It's evolving. And on the back of that, now the business number 4 has
Yeah.
been, which is very much David and I, and the Brambell Group, so named after us. But what we want to do with that is we have between us so much lived experience.
Yeah.
And, we have set up businesses, we have scaled businesses, we've got ourselves out of problems. David literally out of life and death situations with the military. We've led teams. David's led teams of thousands of
Mm-hmm.
people. We know how to do things, and we speak from experience. It's not from a textbook or anything like that. We're both very, very straight talking people. So there's no fluff, there's no
Yeah.
BS, no corporate jargon, there's no guru speak or anything like that. And we're not sort of, spewing a textbook.
Yeah.
We're telling you and helping others to be entrepreneurs, to scale their businesses, to make more money and have fantastic fun while they're doing it. That's what we want the Brambell Group to be, and that is the next exciting chapter in our lives, really, where we want to create a movement, really, a premium movement where people can engage us to do very specific things. Not necessarily going to have evergreen courses or anything like that. You can have one-to-ones with us. You can be mentored by us, or you can just say, right, got this problem, help me solve it.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So yeah, so we're very excited about that. So that's our new baby.
Yeah, it's exciting. My goodness, like you say, you've got so much lived experience. It's unbelievable the amount of, like, your story is just amazing. So with all the moving and reinvention and the constant changes at Army Wife, were there moments where you kind of felt that you lost a little bit of who you were outside the roles that you were holding? Like if we were to go back to that time.
So I think that, yeah, there were moments when I thought I have lost myself a little bit. I
Hmm.
remember clearly, again, it's this idea of this, I suppose, feeling inside a lot of us that we have to conform in some
Yeah.
way. And I mean, obviously, I tried at school and failed abysmally. But it was even like when I started being a military wife, and I remember saying to David, we're going into the mess. So that's their sort of, club, basically, for want of
Yeah.
a word. And I said, you know what? I don't really know. What do I wear? You know,
Mm.
how do I dress? And I'd look around at some of the other wives, and they would wear these sort of, in the time, sort of Laura Ashley flowery dresses and flowy skirts and things like that. And I thought, well, I'll try them on. I looked about 1,000 in them.
Yeah.
Just, I just looked terrible. And I just thought, I'll sod it. I wear what I wear, and I'm just going
Yeah.
to do it. But there was that time quite early on in my sort of military army wife life where I did lose a bit of myself, and I did tone myself down a bit
Yeah.
to sort of fit in. And I lost my confidence a bit,
Mm.
and I second guess things, and I'd be like, oh, what do people think about me? Oh God, I hope I was all right.
Yeah.
Or, to get real anxiety, wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh God, I said this to so and so, and
Yeah.
or do you think it was a boring, or
Hmm.
or I don't, and then would panic if we had big dinners, who I was sat next to, would I be interesting? Would I
Hmm.
engage that person who sat next to me? And it was there was that time then, and it took a while to sort of get my confidence to be able to say, well, actually, no, my name is Emma Bramble, and I'm bloody fantastic. And
Yes.
um, let me tell you about this, and tell me about you. Tell me about
Yeah.
you. I love hearing other people's stories, and then you're listening to somebody else's story, and there's something that they'll say that you go, yeah,
Yeah.
understand what you're saying, and then you've got that thing there. I love being able to talk closely to people. I'm not brilliant in big rooms where there's lots and lots of people all talking, and it is still a challenge for me to right, here we go.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Emma. What
Yeah.
do you tell me about
It's
you?
uncomfortable. Yeah. Yeah.
It's that
Mm-hmm.
sort of constant. So I would always say that is always an insecurity that I will have, and I do come across as confident, and I am confident,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes there are those moments when it's like, oof,
Yeah.
I've got this swan appearance, but underneath those legs are flapping like mad,
Yeah.
and it's learning those tricks, isn't it? And just
100%.
keep doing them, and then at the end of the day, you've just got to be who you are,
Mm-hmm.
because and be that person, because if you're not, the truth comes out
Yeah.
eventually,
Yeah. The facts start to show.
and the cracks that you've been trying
Mm-hmm.
to paper over do start to show. So yes, and I've learned over the years, again, not to be too trusting.
Yeah.
I think my upbringing with my parents, I mean, my parents both worked very in a quite a controversial world, really. Of they worked with vulnerable women,
Mm-hmm.
and without wanting to sort of go too much into it, but my sister and I got used to women living in the family home because they needed refuge, and as a result of that, my sister and I have never ever had any issues with who you are, where you come from, what your
Yeah,
background
yeah,
is, or anything like that, because, or any sort of like, oh, I don't feel very comfortable with you, because we've just had, growing up, all sorts of people
hmm
living in the house and sat round the table for dinner in the evening, and then maybe 2 weeks later they weren't there anymore because they're
hmm
okay and they're
yeah,
able
yeah,
to normal
yeah,
life, kind of, thanks to the support that they got from my parents. And mum and dad were very huge socialites and all that sort of thing. The house was always full with all sorts of eclectic characters. And we got used to being able to sort of walk into a room and say hello and things like that. So I think whilst there is that sort of right from the get-go, this confidence that's sort of instilled into you, and being able to make small talk if you're nervous and thinking, I
yeah,
don't know a bar of soap. There is always that thing, well, some people aren't always what you think they are.
yeah,
And you give too much of yourself, or you're too open, and then you get shafted, or you get taken for a ride, or
yeah,
you get used. I
yeah,
think. And it's happened to me a few times recently over the last 3 or 4 years, and every single time it's happened, it's really, really hurt me.
yeah,
Where I thought, oh, I thought you were that person, and actually you're not. And I feel used.
yeah,
There's nothing you can do about it. That person doesn't want you in their lives anymore. And I'm not talking about a lover relationship. I'm talking
yeah,
about,
yeah,
perfectly honest, friendships that I've had with girlfriends that turned, and I thought, what did I do wrong? And then I think, oh, Emma, those are your insecurities coming back out again. Your lack of confidence, raising its ugly head again. It's not
hmm
you, it's them.
yeah,
So, and so that's always, there's always that sort of concern, because I do give everything about myself, and what you see is what you get. There isn't a side to me.
yeah,
But I then, because of that little vulnerability and that insecurity that's deep down, that I'm always aware of, and it's never going to go away because it's part of me, it's part of who I
hmm
am. I just have to remind myself sometimes, don't always, someone might always just take you for granted.
yeah.
If that happens, I need to protect myself a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really important that you've highlighted that though, and that, I mean, you do exude confidence, like even when you're on stage and or even like in the rooms and stuff like that. But it's important to highlight, like even though there is people like yourself all doing that, like there is still that little in our voice that is going, oh, but you're not good enough, or but you can't do this, or whatever it is. But it's just about you get better at take a wee minute, reframe it in your head, and actually kind of talk yourself back out of it. And I think it's so important to say that. Even like the confidence doesn't, it's courage. It really is courage you need to step into these things. Just be like, I'm going to do this. And then the confidence starts to build off the back of actually taking the courageous step in the first place. So
Yes.
it's really, really crucial that you said it, because I think so many people think, oh, but I'd never be like them, or I'd never be able to do that, and whatever. And actually, it's it's not that you kind of get confidence first without the action, can't you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It's amazing. So talking about you, you said earlier on you moved 17 times as an army wife, which is bloody hell of a lot. That must teach you some amount of resilience rather. Um, but does it, like you said, like that also made you feel, maybe make yourself quiet or small to survive, especially in that circle. And I think you're right about like when you step into certain environments, there's like an expectation that you feel like you have to meet, even as a child going into school, even as a army wife. Like, what does an army wife look like? How should they behave? How should they dress? How should they whatever? So, how did that chapter, do you think, shape the way that you showed up in your life and your business? Do you think it shaped you in a way into your business and your
It
life now?
definitely shaped me. I mean, what I learned, particularly in those early days of being an army wife, is you just be you,
Yeah,
warts and all.
yeah,
Uh, People will love you for you.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't love you for you, then they're not your people. And I know that sounds simplistic, but if you can keep saying that to yourself and reminding yourself that you're not a cookie cutter, you're not
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's going to fit in to whichever group you're in just because that's what the group wants. If you
Mm-hmm.
can't, you don't fit in, if you don't feel comfortable in a group or in a space or whatever, then that space isn't for you. The next one might be, or the third one might be. And you've just got to listen to yourself, know your insecurities, know your weaknesses, but also know your strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And it's playing to your strengths as well. That's really, really important. And the more you play to your strengths, the less the weaknesses, for want of a better
Yeah.
word, matter. So if if I think about like the my speaker day that you saw me on stage
Mm-hmm.
at, I was really nervous about that. Really, really
Mm-hmm.
nervous. Now, I've spoken in front of hundreds of people before. Now, albeit this was the first time I spoke in front of a room full of hard-nosed entrepreneurs that have
Mm-hmm.
paid money to have their bum on the seat. So there
Mm-hmm.
was extra pressure. I put extra pressure on myself because I thought
Mm-hmm.
I've got to deliver. I can't be crap because
Mm-hmm.
to listen to a range of excellent speakers, and I need to be one of them. So that was the first thing. And I put pressure on myself with that one. And I thought, right, hold on a second. What do I know about myself that I know that I am good at? I can walk on a stage. I look good. My hair's great. Um, I can speak. I'm never short of something to say.
Yeah.
Um, I know I can smile, and all I've got to do is hold my hand out, shake that person's hand, and say, I'm so pleased to be here, and smile at everybody. And then
Mm-hmm.
everyone would smile back at me. And then, and I thought, right, what I don't want to do, I know what I want to say. I've got my little presentation mapped out. And I thought, right, I am going to have cue cards. I'm
Yeah.
going there. And I thought, and maybe somebody will think, she can't even speak without her flipping notes or whatever. And I thought, do you know what? I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
If I've got those, it's got a little security blanket on it. I've highlighted all my buzzwords, I've got it
Mm-hmm.
all there. And I can then just look at it every so often and I can say, right, and I keep myself on track.
Yeah.
And so I knew that that would be the thing, that if I didn't have that, I'd drift off. I'd go down a rabbit hole. I'd start talking about something else. Then I'd get
Yeah.
muddled. Then I go, oh, and then I'd panic. And then the anxiety would set in. And then it was just all go pear-shaped.
Yeah.
So those sort of coming back to your point, those sort of early days of being a military wife where I did make myself small and did
Mm-hmm.
wear clothes that looked terrible on me and watched the makeup that I wore and stuff like that just so that I
Mm-hmm.
didn't look like
Stand
something
out. Yeah.
big. That though overcoming that has helped me enormously because it's meant then, fast forward to this time, to November last year.
Mm-hmm.
I know what my weaknesses are, what my gremlins
Yeah.
are, and I put things into place that make
Yeah.
sure that the confident Emma, the one that's doesn't have to, the courageous bit, the bit that I don't have to worry about,
Yeah.
shine and
Yeah.
isn't sort of held down by the gremlins. I don't know if
Yeah.
that makes any sense at all,
Totally
but
no, it totally does make sense. And going back to your point as well about the friendships and the people kind of maybe backstabbing you or letting you down or whatever, I think it's really important to point out as well, like when you do grow, some people can't come with you. Some people it holds a mirror up to them in the work that they're not doing, and some people don't like that. And therefore, sometimes you need to just be like you said, if somebody is not accepting of who you are or who you're becoming, sometimes you just need to like wish them well and move forward,
yeah,
isn't it? And recognise that they're not for you anymore, and that's okay.
yeah, it is and it isn't. Friendships, relationships of any kind, when one person in that relationship rejects you,
Yeah,
whatever the reasons are, it hurts.
definitely.
Um, you've got no control over it. You've got no say in it. You know, we've all been in relationships where we've been dumped,
Yeah,
through
yeah,
our lives. And when you're dumped, whether it's a lover, a friend,
Yeah.
or it hurts because that person is saying to you, I don't want anything more to do with you. It's
Yeah.
over. And you're like, well, what have I done wrong? But I still love you. I still want to be
Mm.
you. And then you start to, the anger sets in, and it's just like, well, I did this for you. I did that for you. I
Yeah.
was this. I was with you for that. And all your sort of justifications come in. And I think with relationships, when the relationship ends and you're not the one that's doing the ending, you have to accept as well that there is grieving. There's a grieving
Yeah.
process. And it's a similar sort of grieving process to
A death. Yeah, for
when,
sure.
oh, because it's over, it's ended.
Hmm.
You've not been able to say, I'm ending it. It's the other person that's
Yeah.
ending. And I think it was two very, very close girlfriends that I had, and I loved them dearly. We were really close. We would spend so much time together. We had so much fun together, and all of that sort of thing. And with both of them, they ended it with me. They
Yeah.
didn't need me anymore. And some of the things that were said to me were really hurtful. It was sort of turned on me. I mean, it's not I'm not doing a he said, she said kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Basically, what I did work out, and it took a while, was yes, it's not me, it's you.
Mm.
And there's something about where I'm going and what I'm doing and my lifestyle that grates on you and is making you feel uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And rather than you say, I'm jealous of you,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm threatened by you. I wish I could be you. I wish I could be
Hmm.
stronger. All those things that they see you as that are inadequate or missing in them.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying that and being honest about it, it becomes an attack
Yeah.
and, and a rejection.
Yeah.
And that took me a while to grasp. And
Hmm.
I have grasped that. And I got peace in that
Yeah.
moment because I
Yeah.
just like, no, it isn't me. Well, actually, it is me.
Yeah.
I am confident. I am successful. I am going places. I've got great plans. Some of them will fail. Some of them will be brilliant. Some of them will be
Yeah.
better than others. I might win some money, lose some money. I might trip up. I might do all sorts of things along the journey. I find all of that quite exciting and it's part of the journey.
Mhm.
But the constant is me and David. We're together. We're happy. It's all fine. We're not really bothered about money as long as we've got enough to pay the bills, and every
Yeah.
so often go have a nice bit of time together, go out for dinner or go on holiday together. That's fine. We don't want to be mega millionaires. That's not what drives us.
Hmm.
We've got 3 grown-up kids, and somehow or other I got away with motherhood. They do actually quite enjoy being with us now, and we have a
Yeah.
laugh together. And I think sometimes when people who are insecure themselves have got their own demons, when they
Yeah.
look at what they see to be perfection, they can't handle it. Now, of
Yeah.
course, what I don't realize is that you can look at, say, David and I and think, they're pretty bit of a perfect couple. But we still row. We
Yeah.
still have times when it's just like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
times when I'm sat in front of my laptop and I'm thinking, I can't bloody do this. This is too
Yeah.
much. Or we've got with a cleaning job, we've got an all-nighter that we've got to do because we've got to do it, and it's stressful and we're knackered. We've still got all of that. We still have our children still need us. They still phone up and go,
Yeah. Yeah.
or they get dumped by a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or
Yeah.
we still have all of this normal shit going on in our lives. So we're not the perfect couple at all. But I think it's sometimes for people that are insecure, got their own demons, who are actually probably a bit crippled by jealousy. It's
Yeah.
easy to look at people like me and think, he's got it all, therefore I hate her.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, 100%. Like I said, it holds a mirror up to people, doesn't it? And if they can't handle it, it's like an ego. It's a threat on their own ego into it, where they
mm,
just kind of project.
mm,
So you mentioned a little bit about growing up, and I know we're not going to go too much into this, but growing how you grew up, and there was lots of vulnerable women around you, which, by the way, is your mum and dad sound like absolute angels for doing that, because the amount of lives they would have saved having done that and impacted so beautifully, will be the ripple effect of that. They would never know, like they would never know the ripple effect of that. So when you grew up surrounded by these vulnerable women, like who found refuge in your home, that's extraordinary. What do you think little Emma at the time learned about strength, worth, compassion, witnessing all that?
What didn't I learn? I mean, there
Yeah,
was an element actually where I was a bit cross with mum and dad about this
right.
because, of course, they weren't great parents, really, because they were
Yeah,
my sister and I. They were so busy
doing
running
that.
this charity that they had, which they didn't earn any money for or anything like that. That they Sarah and I would go, do hockey after school or something like that, and have to get the bus home. With mum and dad were never there cheering us on the side of the sports pitch or whatever,
Yeah,
um, because they were doing all that. So there was an element of like,
yeah.
where a bit of jealousy, I suppose, and a bit of anger,
Resentment.
resentment.
Yeah,
That's the right word to these women. So that the first thing from that is that I now have total empathy. Fast forwarding so many years now to what David and I, how much we are working all the time, and it's that hold on, we even though our kids are grown up, we can't forget that they need us. So it's
yeah,
actually making sure we make the time to, I don't know, go away for the weekend with them or be with them or just
yeah,
let's come on family Bramble this weekend. Laptops are shut, phones are off. We're going to play stupid games and we're going to eat and drink and be merry, kind of thing. So having got that experience of how I felt then has definitely shaped me in that way. What I also saw was drive, resilience, entrepreneurship that hadn't been classified at the
yeah,
time. Um, Dad was he's an academic. He's an author. He was professor of history at the University of Warwick. But that sort of vibrance of him, he could stand up in a room and he could sell coal to anyone. Sell
yeah,
soap makers. But behind him was mum, and mum was right. This is how we get it done. Dad was like the butterfly. We're going to
yeah, yeah,
brilliant ideas, and we're going to do this, and then you go off to work. And
yeah,
mum was like, well, this is how we're going to do it.
yeah.
And charities that they set up survived and grew. They became international charities because mum was absolutely focused and driven and hardworking and took no crap from anybody. And people bought into her,
Mhm.
absolutely bought into her. And she became the face of the organization. She's a very, very beautiful woman. And she'd no fear, no
Mhm.
fear at all. And you didn't want to mess with her. And
Mhm.
I learned from them was, and I've got a good combination of the two. I've got the butterfly, I've got
Yeah,
this brilliant
yeah,
idea, but I'm also really, 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 really hardworking, and I get fixed on something and I get on with it, and and I will see a way around the problem. So those things there, so seeing mum and dad in action and seeing what they did definitely have taken away stuff from that and definitely using it today. And my sister is as well, she's
yeah,
an entrepreneur as well. Um, we learned, I've yes, the insecurities, the nervousness, the shyness. I think that actually is the word. Even though I am this sort of outgoing person, I'm actually quite quiet inside and a bit shy and quite introvert, really. People laugh
mhm,
when I say that, but it's kind of
yeah,
true. Um, I'm able, I did see that at the time, but I'm able now with the sort of what I observed with mum, with their parties, with, everyone would stand up and they would sing songs, and that's before
yeah,
karaoke was born and stuff like that. And we still do parties like that now. You don't just sit around chatting to each other with a bit of soggy cheese and biscuits, we
yeah,
have day games, we, do lip sync and all those sort of things. We have a laugh and we get a bit merry and what have you, and we don't wake up the next morning thinking, oh, that hurt a bit. But anyway, hey ho, it was a
yeah,
good night. So that side of things, that's sort of being able to make fun and everybody else in the room in having a brilliant time because you've created this atmosphere that
yeah,
people part of. And that's certainly something that I learned from mum and dad. The final thing I learned from mum and dad is courage, because the charities they had were politically incorrect in the 70s. The main one was a charity called Life, and it was born to support women who had unwanted pregnancies, who didn't want to have a termination, didn't want to have an abortion. And they were a variety of women. Some of them were, they would have been killed because
Right.
of religious reasons. They've got pregnant when they shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Underage women, unmarried women. And in the 70s, it was still a big no-no.
Yeah. Sure.
Still a big six no-no to not be married and then get pregnant. It was Madonna that suddenly made it okay with her song Papa Don't Preach. Suddenly it became
Ah,
something that actually, do you know what? I'm keeping my baby.
yeah.
And then, of course, with Spice Girls, more
Hmm.
celebrities were getting pregnant and they weren't necessarily married and stuff like that. But it was Madonna that was a bit of a trailblazer from a celebrity point of view
Yeah.
about taking away that stigma
Stigma. Yeah.
of a woman who is pregnant in a way that she shouldn't have been, as
Hmm.
far as society is concerned.
Yeah.
Mum and dad stuck their head up over the parapet. Dad said, I think this is wrong. I think it's wrong that women should have pressure and only one choice, which
Hmm.
either go off and disappear off the face of the earth to give birth and then come
Hmm.
back 9 months later and pretend you're away on a long holiday,
Yeah.
be forced to go and have a termination. And of course, in those days, if you were, you were treated like the absolute lowest
Yeah.
society because you were a naughty girl and you've got yourself into trouble and we've got to solve this problem and deal with you.
Hmm.
There's no counselling, there was nothing at all. And so Dad, said, well, why can't we do something? I think there should be an alternative choice. It shouldn't just be one choice. It doesn't make sense. Choice means
Hmm.
a couple of
Yeah.
options. So that's how Life was started. Mum
Mhm.
absolutely ran with it, and one of the things they did was, that women couldn't necessarily just crack on with life, their own life, and give birth to their baby. They had to run. They had to
Yeah.
escape, and this is why they ended up coming and living with us. And then on the back of that, there are lots of houses all around the country that continue to be safe refuges for women that don't want to have a termination. They want to have that baby.
Mhm.
And when Mum died, and then, and also Dad has set up 3 hospices as well. And there's one in Liverpool, one in Coventry, one in Middlesbrough. It's called Zoe's. And that is for people who's pregnant. When you're pregnant, you're diagnosed and you're told that you're having a baby that is so severely disabled, it isn't going to live. So
Yeah.
we crack on with the termination. And not everybody wants to do that. I'm not here to
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
what's
What's
right
right or
and what
wrong?
I'm
Yeah.
this is not a political
Yeah.
discussion at all. I'm just telling you the story of what my parents did to facilitate different options for women that didn't want to just take option A. They wanted to
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
what it looked like. And so Zoe's then again a charity, again all funded by donations and fundraising, never got any money
Mm.
from the government at all. And they're beautiful, beautiful places. And they are for children that are born and they are going to die. They're not going to live
Mhm.
very long. But for the time that they're alive, they're in a beautiful place being cared for. And more importantly, for the parents that might have an able-bodied sibling, they're able to get some sort of respite. They can go away on holiday with the able-bodied child, knowing that their disabled child is perfectly happy and perfectly content and being looked after beautifully. So, because anybody that's got to has a disabled child knows exactly what it's like. It's full on. It's
Yeah.
100% full on. You don't get a break, and sometimes that can have an effect on the able-bodied child. It's like, well, mum, dad, where are you?
What about me kind of thing? Yeah.
So I mean, the time that they did it, as I said, it was very politically incorrect.
Mhm.
It did stagnate my dad's career, and mum never. never earned any money through it, and she spent all her life doing this as a volunteer.
Wow.
And I got used to people calling us names. I got used to people turning on us and things like that because of what mum and dad did. And initially, I was a bit embarrassed. It's like,
Yeah.
you're in the press for all the wrong reasons, aren't you? And then after a while, I thought, no, hold on a second, this is amazing.
Yeah. They're actually standing up for what they believe in. So many people wouldn't. Yeah.
Absolutely. So again, that's taught me, don't be frightened to stand up above the parapet. Don't be frightened to call out things. That doesn't mean you've got to go on a rant. Doesn't mean you've
Yeah.
got to
Yeah.
shove your opinion down people's throats and to the point where nobody will speak to you because or mention whatever word it is that sets the trigger for you.
Yeah.
It's about listening to other people and hearing their story. And if they want your advice or if they want your insight, giving it, but not in a way that says, you're wrong, I'm right. We're
Yeah.
not having an argument here. You know, there are many reasons why women choose termination, and there are many reasons why women don't.
Yeah, for sure.
Zero judgment on either way. And that's what I really took away with mum and dad was that the courage to do that, but also
Mm.
not to be violent about it,
Yeah.
just quietly, calmly doing what they would do. And if you want it, it's there for you. And 100% you will get the support. And if you don't want it, that's absolutely fine too. And
Hmm.
it was interesting at mum's funeral. Um, I mean, it was heaving.
Yeah, I
And
can
we got
imagine.
a lot of letters. And we got one of them really sticks out. My mum used to always say, if you never hear from any of the girls again, that's good news because you were there for them when they were the most vulnerable. You've
Hmm.
made them strong again. You've given them their lives back. They can now walk away, head held high, and move on.
Hmm.
They won't necessarily keep in contact with you because that was then,
Hmm. It's like
and this is there now.
their old story kind of thing. Yeah.
Story. So mum used to say it's a sign of success if we never hear from them again. But we did have one letter written, and this girl, she said, "I'm a grandmother now." Oh, I'm getting
Wow.
emotional. She said,
Oh,
"I'm a
bless.
grandmother." And she said, I wouldn't be a grandmother had it not been for your parents.
Yeah.
And she had that baby. She then went on to have more. Her children have had children. She's now
Wow.
and that sort of net that's there of those generations that are all there is just because she could get refuge with mum and dad.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I,
It's absolutely incredible. Yeah, like you say, like that. Think about all the memories and the stories and everything that's been created off the back of that. It's just incredible. Um, like it's just amazing. But like you say, it's funny how as a child you're almost threatened, aren't you? Like what about like that? Is that what about me? What about me? You're helping all these people, but what about me? And my children must feel like that sometimes because I do all this stuff for do you know what I mean, other people, and they're probably a wee bit like, "I like mum, mum." But it's funny how then you have a whole newfound respect and pride as when you do realise actually the impact that they have created not only in one person's life but on the ripple effect in that across the board. So let's talk about the turning point. So obviously we went into your past and all your stories, which are just amazing. I could listen to your stories for ages. Is there a moment do you think that or like a wee inner knowing where you realised that you no longer were willing to play small? Because a couple of times you've mentioned like I had to make myself small and whatever. Do you think there was a moment or do you think it was like a slow, gradual thing? Or was it like a moment and you're like, I'm done with this?
I don't think there was a single moment. I think there's been lots of moments.
Mm,
I've done that, and
yeah.
then no, and then we're okay. And then I've had have gone down again, and
Yeah.
and I've come down again a little bit more. But every time I've come down again to be small, I'm always a little bit bigger than the last time.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely sure that for the rest of my life, there's always going to be moments when I go, oh,
100%, yeah.
um, but they get fewer and further apart, and they're very short lived. Uh,
Hmm.
but if I think maybe what was the turning point? I mean, there have been several turning points, to be honest. Doing that fund, setting up that fund in the 80s was definitely a turning point.
Yeah.
Because it showed me what I'm capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
Another turning point was making that decision to go to university.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an easy decision to do because I knew I was going to be 22 going on 23, and
Mm.
everybody else in university at the time was 18.
Yeah.
So I knew I was going to be a bit odd. I was going to,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't naturally have people wanting to be friends with me, and because a bit older.
Yeah.
Of course, if you're 18, you think anybody who's 19 and above is ancient. So
Yes.
I would have been positively geriatric in people's minds at the
Yeah.
age of 23. So that was, but I think the fact that I did make that decision and go, that was another turning point because I had a chip on my shoulder about what had
Mm-hmm.
been said to me by the headmaster of the school that I got expelled from, and I've been carrying it around, and I
Yeah.
thought, this get rid of the chip, get rid of the
Yeah.
chip. And so that was another turning point. I'm not going to be that person that you think you
Yeah.
defined.
Yeah.
I am me, and this is what I'm going to do. And if I get it wrong, I get it wrong. But do you know what? I might get it right. And
Yeah.
the journey along that way is the exciting bit. So that was another turning point. The next, I think probably, um, I say, I don't know whether doing the retraining as a teacher. I don't think that was necessarily a turning point because it was a bit like that sort of going to university thing again. I know I can
Yeah.
do it. I need to
Yeah.
teach, I need to keep my brain occupied. So it was more of a sort of transactional thing, if for want of a better word.
Mm-hmm.
I think the next turning point was coming back to Leamington to look after mum
Yeah, for sure.
because as I got off the sort of 9 to 5 working for somebody else treadmill. Um, that's sort of, you know, your income comes in, you sort it all out, and then you pay all your bills, and you put this bit, and again, it was that sort of conformist bit,
Yeah.
and I knew that it was a needs must, and I was enjoying what I was doing, and we've all
Mm-hmm.
got to earn money, we've all got to pay the bills, let's not be too stupid about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I, if I go back to, one of the first things I said about myself, I'm not a conformist.
Mm-hmm.
Think I am, but I'm not. And so I think that was the next really massive turning point in my life was that, no, I'm going to leave teaching. I am going to come back. I am going to give it all up, all the income, give up everything. We are going to move from our 5-bedroomed detached house in Surrey into the 2-bedroomed flat at the back of mum and dad's house,
Yeah.
2 Labradors and all our clutter. We are going to do this. I remember telling David, and he was just like, "What?
Moving in with in-laws, it must have been like absolutely no way.
Really, Emma?" And I said, "Yes, this is what we're doing." And he was like, "Oh, right, okay, well, it's going to be too cramped. We're not going to be able to do it." And I said, "Well, then we'll put stuff in storage."
Make it work. Yeah, yeah.
Somehow or other, we've made it work. I mean, we still, every so often, I can hear David in the kitchen, which is tiny, just go, "Oh my God, this is so cramped in here. And I'm sick and tired of the door not opening properly," or something like that. And I just think, well, he's just letting off steam. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But, so I think that was the next massive turning point
Yeah.
is it is possible to change direction
Yeah.
dramatically if that is the right thing for you at that time. And you might not know what the future is going to look like having made
Mm.
that decision, but if you believe enough that you're going to make it work, you will make it work.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's important to say, like, most of those things, like, so the fund and your mum have been ill, like, they're painful things. Like, it's like pains became the catalyst, isn't it? But sometimes it is pain that becomes the catalyst in order for you to, like, actually realise and change trajectory and pivot to wherever you're meant to go, isn't it? It's like, sometimes you need to reframe it in your head. So like when you set up that fund, that was like that could have been like, oh my god, that's the end of the world. And it's like, no, reframe it. Right? How can we make this a positive thing? How can we positively change this for the best sort of a thing? Same with your mum, like. Do you know what I mean? Or even the university, because I think there's so many children these days, and I think what you said earlier on about that you wanted to inspire and stuff like that is so crucial because being a teacher is so much more than just teaching whatever subject it is or whatever skill it is, because obviously my background is dance teaching, and I say all the time, like, the most important part of that is the impact that you are making, because I don't think people appreciate maybe how much that has an impact on lives for years to come, like for really years to come. I remember when I used to sing and I used to dance. I've spoken about this on this podcast before, but obviously I did dance, that continued to dance because I became a teacher, but I went to acting and performance college, got my HND and whatever, and my singing teacher, like, absolutely crucified me to the point where it was almost like she literally took the voice out of my throat and I couldn't sing anymore. And previous to that, I had sang in school shows, like without, like, in big songs, and it's that one person could had that amount of control over actually how I seen myself. Do you know what I mean? And so when I became a dance teacher, it was so important to me, more than them learning the skills, more than them having the discipline to do this, or whatever. It was so much more important to me that the impact that they came away from class and came away from my school, if they were ever leave my school or whatever, that they still had that, like, they were inspired, that they had a positive impact. I was judging over the weekend, and I met three girls that I used to teach, and they're now in a different school. They waited until and they shouted on me for me to go speak to them, because even though they left and they went somewhere else for whatever reason, like, they still recognise me as being and so does their mum, has such an impact on their life. And I gave them a cuddle and whatever. And one of them actually quite often messages our pages and says, like, I miss you. And I'm like, it's heartbreaking, but it's also heartwarming, because it's like that the job is done. Like, whether they are in our studio or not in the studio, the job is done, because it's created that impact, and it's so important. Well, there was me going away off on a tangent, but just
I 100% agree with you. I think, you can be pulled down in a
mhm,
heartbeat by one person saying something really horrible that
yeah,
cuts at your core, and it could be a comment on your social media, or it could
yeah,
be like that teacher experience that you've had, the teacher experience I've had as well.
mhm,
Um, the challenge for the recipient in all of these things is to realize and grasp that is their problem,
yeah,
that is their insecurity, and that is the challenge. That's the
yeah,
challenge,
yeah,
and it's not an easy path to tread, to be able to compartmentalize somebody
yeah,
else
yeah,
for whatever their just reasons are, and be able to say that's not me, that's them, and then be able to move on. But I think the only advice I've got for people is that if there is something that you have been wanting to do it.
yeah,
And if you want it that much, you will find a way of doing it. And you did say earlier, Donna, and you are 100% right. Change does 9 times out of 10 come as a result of pain.
mhm,
And in fact, you're dead right. The fund, mum, the horrible headmaster.
yeah,
But it was also, there's more, like David had a very high powered job. He was earning a lot of money and he got made redundant just before
yeah,
COVID. Pain,
yeah,
oh, how are we going to now pay the bills, pay the mortgages and stuff like that? And that was one of the reasons we decided, right, well, we're going to sell the house, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And anyway, the circumstances overtook us because mum with dementia, we ended up coming back here. We now, as a joint income, have less coming in each month, because we're just living
yeah,
off David's army pension, than we did when we were first married.
yeah,
But we're happier. We're much more
yeah,
fulfilled.
yeah.
So the pain of David losing his job and the impact that had on him has actually, we've
Full
channeled,
circled it.
channeled that and turned it into courage, positivity, well, new direction. We've
Yeah,
made painful exciting for us. So I think if for anybody listening, if they're thinking, oh gosh, this is kind of resonating with me,
mhm,
pain is good because it forces you into
yeah,
change. It has to, because
mhm,
otherwise you're just stuck in that pain. You
yeah,
have to change for your own survival. And as human beings, we are wired to survive. That's
Yeah.
the so if you're in pain and you've got to look for the change route, and
Yeah.
then you've got to pursue it, and you've
Hmm.
got to do everything you possibly can in order to pursue that route. And
Hmm.
you will come out the other end, because that's what human beings are geared to do. When a human being is in pain and doesn't do anything about it and just keeps being in pain and suffering, they just get smaller and smaller and smaller, and they
Yeah.
wither.
Yeah.
So
There's a quote. I mean, I love a quote. You know, I love a quote. But there's a quote that goes along the lines of something like, "When the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of change, that is when transformation happens." Because it is. It's like sometimes you have to get to a point. Not all the time, but sometimes you have to get to a point where it's like your back is against the wall.
yeah,
Shit, what am I going to do? And
yeah.
then ignites this fire that you probably wouldn't, or potentially wouldn't have had any other way. So you have built a business and you've been super, super successful. And there'll be so many women listening to this that have built businesses and successful things, but they still hesitate to be seen as a leader. I think there's so many business women that are like, I'm just a wee, for instance, in the dance world, it's like, I'm just a dance teacher. That word just, it's like you're minimizing yourself, isn't it? So what
Yes.
helped you step fully into owning your voice and your experience and your authority to be like, I am a leader, rather than just being just this little business owner. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Um, a lot of it is who I've been fortunate enough to be surrounded by.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, I've got David is incredible, and he is.
Mhm.
Emma, you are amazing. You can do this. You can do this. I have a very, very close knit group of friends who've been with me, my friends, for years and years and years and years, and will be forever.
Yeah.
And I've asked them, I've said to them, right, when you think about Emma Brambell, what do you think? And they will give me all this stuff, all this stuff. And that then I remind myself, I've got it in a little note. And every so often when I'm feeling a bit, I'm just this, or I'm not good enough, or I don't think I can do this, I'll get that little note out and I read it. And I remind myself, actually, I am this, I am that. And this is why people love me. And this is why people want to be with me. And this is why people want to learn from me, be in my gang, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
be in the vibe. And that's what I remind myself of. So for any woman that's listening this thing, well, I'm just this. No, you're not.
Mhm.
No, you're everything, and you can be everything that you want to be.
Mhm.
The other thing is like your brain is a muscle, and it gets trained. So
Yeah.
you keep saying to yourself, I'm just this, or I can't do this. Eventually that's what your brain starts to
100%.
absorb, and that's what you then believe. So there
Mhm.
is that sort of, you've got to kind of reset your brain a bit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and yeah, there are going to be some times when you're going to have to stand in the mirror and say, I'm bold and I'm brave and I'm beautiful and I'm
Mhm.
the queen of the universe and I'm going to do this and I can. And you
I
might
can
feel,
see you doing that. I can
you might,
totally see you. I'm
you might,
queen.
yeah, I am a queen and I'm just going to straighten my crown. And
Absolutely.
and there, of course, there's going to, you're never going to be perfect. There are going to be times when you absolutely screw it up, and
Mhm.
you might say the wrong thing to somebody else like that. Well, the Queen will also say, "I'm sorry, I got that one wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Hands up.
Hands up,
Yeah.
I got that wrong. I dropped the ball. I was rude to you, or I upset you. And am I able to fix this with you? Now, if you can't fix it, they don't want fixing them, so be it. You move on. But the Queen also owns the cock ups and owns
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you're always making mistakes. 9 times at the time, the mistake we're making is not celebrating ourselves and raising ourselves up. And we
Amen.
pay far too much attention to what people think about us.
100%. It's something that I notice a lot in a lot of the work I do is like, it's that fear, it's the fear of judgment, it's the fear of what other people might say, it's the where it, like you say, like people, and I say sometimes, like, I'm not going to stand in front of people and say people aren't going to judge you. The world is full of people judging, but
Mm,
like you get to decide what that means to you. Do you know what I mean? Like you are the person that gets to decide. Like, of course they're going to judge you, but does it affect your life? Does what they think actually matter in the grand scheme of things?
no,
It's
no.
it's
I mean, and like when you're doing your social media stuff and stuff like that, you're posting and putting your posts out there and everything like that, and you're thinking, flipping heck, I've only got 7 likes, or you know,
mm,
145 people only looked at that post there, but they're all looking, and they're all
Yeah.
watching. And the amount of times that I've met somebody and they said, "Oh yeah, I've seen you on Facebook.
And
Oh,
you've
I'm
never spoken to him before?
following your story," and I'm like,
Who are
"Well,
you?
give me a bone and say something, would you?" It's just,
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
I think people are looking all the time, and I think sometimes, okay, so I can come across as a really confident, together, powerful woman, and some people might think, "Oh, God, I'd love to be like her, but I'm too nervous to approach." You then get this sort of, I don't know,
Why
fan
would I? Yeah.
fan thing or whatever. Again, that doesn't mean at any point should I say, "Oh, we shouldn't be doing this, shouldn't be doing that."
Hmm.
Got one life to live, and let's face it, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know what's
Yeah,
going to
for sure.
happen at 2 o'clock this afternoon. All you know is what's happening right now and what happened yesterday. So
Hmm.
never, ever, ever regret the things that you've done. Regret the things you haven't done is my
Yeah,
message. And do
100%. And you
it.
talked about that itch, that didn't you? Like that itch. Like I think sometimes you've got an itch because you've literally been put here for a purpose. And if that itch is continuing to pull itself and reveal itself, just roll with it. When me and one of my best friends started moving into more of the coaching space, like there was a lot of people who were a bit like, what are they up to? Why, like, why, what are they saying? Why are they saying that? What talk about that for? But you almost need to just get over it and be like, do you know what? I don't care what people are thinking. I will say what I feel, and if you don't want to see that, that's fine. I don't mind. You ignore, block, delete, whatever. I don't mind. But like that, like when you know that you have purpose and that that this itch is actually, it's not just an itch. It's literally a purpose. It's why you're here on this earth, isn't it? I think it's important to embrace it and to run with it and to see what that unfolds like.
And it's a journey, and it's exciting, and it might work, it might not work, but if you don't give it a go, you're never going to know. And
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things like people have said to me, why have you set all these businesses up? Why you had My Perfect Needle, now you've got My Perfect Cleaner, and now you've got a commercial cleaning business, and now you've got this new leadership brand that you're doing. Why are you doing all of this? And I just said, and I did laugh, and I just said, do you know what? Because when I die, and everyone's at my funeral, I want them to have something to talk about
Yeah.
me.
It's like having a legacy as well, isn't it?
I didn't want it just to be, "Oh yeah, Emma, so she's been married for X number of years to David, and she's had 3 kids, and she was an army wife for a bit."
Yeah, yeah.
I'd like
Yeah.
a bit more
Yeah.
stuff. And I mean, call me big-headed, call me whatever, but I just thought I've always been surrounded by people that are fascinating and interesting and got stories to tell and things like that. Right from being a young child, and
Yeah.
mum and dad with their crazy dinner parties with all these eclectic people coming and
Hmm.
chatting away and all this sort of thing and blah blah blah. So God, these people are fascinating,
Yeah.
and it's sort of that desire to be fascinating myself. Just have
Hmm.
tell. Be somebody that's relatively interesting to talk to. You might not like me, might not get me, might not like my vibe, fine.
Hmm.
But hopefully you'll find me interesting. And as a result of that, then when my time on this earth has come to its end, and I hope I've got a few more years in me, my kids are going to be proud of me, just like I'm proud of my parents.
Yeah.
See me as a grafter, who was driven, who never took no for an answer. And if they got no, found a way to get a yes,
Oh.
um, that sort of thing. But yet, still look good, still put the work, still wore nice clothes, still made sure her hair looked nice, still got the pink lipstick on, all of
Hmm.
that sort of thing, blah, 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 blah. My little things, my little foibles, always wear pink lipstick, always have pink nails.
Yeah.
Um,
Because that's you, isn't it? That's who
yeah,
you are. Yeah.
it's me, and I'm a sucker for bling. So, anything, I'm like a little magpie, anything that glitters and sparkles, I'm straight there. Um, and that is me. And
Hmm.
I want to know that my legacy with my children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, which will be long after I've gone, will always talk about Emma and
Hmm.
this story to tell about Emma, and will talk with pride and love in their voice. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It fills me, it excites me, it's good fun. And if it makes me a bit of money along the way, that's a bonus. But it's more about the people I'm meeting and the lives I'm changing and the lives I'm impacting. That's what it's all
Yeah,
about.
100%. And it is, it's so important, that word impact, isn't it? Like you're impacting not only like your offspring and then their offspring and the ripple effect of who you are that will ripple into all of them, but it's also these are all these other people, isn't it? It's all these other people that you're connecting with, that you're making like new relationships with and stuff like that. It's like that, and even the people who you are helping within a like a learning capacity, like your the ripple effect of that on their children, on their love life, on their life in general is absolutely huge. So obviously this podcast is called Unsure to Unstoppable. We've went through your story. What does unstoppable actually mean to you? Maybe not in hustle terms, but like how would it feel within yourself?
I'm never not going to do something because I don't think I can.
Mhm.
If I think I can do something, if I think I want to do something, I'm going to do it.
Mhm.
And that's what, for me, that's what unstoppable is. I'm not a train. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just all pelt to the detriment of others at all. But nothing is going to limit me. Nothing's going to hold me back. And so lack of education,
Mhm.
lack of opportunity, no, because we've all got opportunities. We can all find a way to do something.
Mhm.
Um, I'm never going to be allow myself to be bored. So, that's why the cleaning businesses were born, because I was getting bored. Um,
Mhm.
and so, and unstoppable is somebody who's not in fright. For me, I'm not frightened to reinvent myself. I'm not frightened to change course if I have to. If go down one direction, it's like, that wasn't such a good decision. That's not working.
Mhm.
So, right, let's stop. Let's turn
Mhm.
around. Get
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Left, let's turn right. And that's with the neon signs. That was you know, unstoppable, going down that journey, and then realize, well, actually, this is a lot of
Mhm.
hard work for not much return. And it's a bit of a niche market. And it's the first sort of market that's going to go when people financially want to sort of tighten their belts and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Think about something else that I can do that I'm good at, that I would enjoy, but still keeps my entrepreneurial spirit alive, cleaning. And
Mhm.
now with the Bramble Group, that's the next thing as well with that one. It's just, and it's another direction. It's
Yeah,
another
it's just evolution, isn't it? It's evolution and it's not being
direction.
scared of that.
So somebody who's unstoppable means not just sticking in your lane and going full pelt, even though it's not working. It means being
Yeah,
able to stop and change direction.
yeah,
It
for sure.
the courage, the ability, the desire to pivot if need be, to rebrand if
Yeah,
to move on from things that are toxic, hurt you, aren't right for you.
yeah, for
To
sure.
let go of things that aren't right for you anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
But always eyes on the prize, eyes on the
Yeah,
prize. That for everybody is personal. What's your vision? Where do you want to be in 5 years'
yeah.
time?
And it's like that alignment, isn't it, with actually you as well? Like, because what's right for one person is not necessarily right for you. It's like recognizing, like, right, does this? But you need to make the decision in the first place, and then find out if it's right for you. And if it's not right for you, that's all right. Move, like you say, pivot and go into something else. So, if for the women that are listening just now who are maybe like on that edge of that next chapter, but they still get that inner doubt. What do you want her to know about her own capacity?
That it's limitless.
Mm.
There's nothing that stops you.
Mm-hmm.
You might, but they might say, well, I haven't got a degree. I left school when I was 15. So
Yeah,
think about all these people that have been successful entrepreneurs who didn't get a university degree and probably left school when they're 15. So education doesn't need to hold you back. And also,
100%.
as a human being, you are capable to learn. So if
Mm-hmm.
there's something that you want to do, um, and you don't know how to do it, learn it.
Yeah,
That may be going on a course. It might be going back to university or going to university. It might be getting involved in a group, in a society that you can
yeah.
learn. It might be, having somebody like you in their lives, Donna. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're paying for that expertise for somebody that's going to help them
Mm-hmm.
learn. They can get that confidence to take that step. The other thing, what other things could possibly hold somebody back? money. I haven't got the financial freedom. I've got to pay these bills. Well, then reverse engineer it. In order to be able to, I don't know, set your business up. For example, I'm going to
Mhm.
need X, Y, and Z. Right. How many days have I got to work doing what I'm doing at the moment to earn that money to be able to do that?
Yeah,
If you've got a job that's 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, can you reduce your hours?
yeah,
Bit of like income coming in, but then you've got 2 days or maybe a day in the week when you're going to focus on what it is that you want to do and start
yeah,
prepping. Um, those are the things that limit us, the things that stop us from taking that plunge and doing that sort of thing. I've got an idea, but I want to do it, but I don't know how to do it. Fear that you can't do it, and that's to do with learning. That's to do with your own sort of brain thing. You can all do that. Everyone can overcome that because your brain's a
yeah,
muscle. You're going to, it's a sponge. You just got to fill
mm,
it up. Self-confidence, self-doubt. There are people that will help you with that. There are people that will engage with you and support you. It doesn't necessarily have to cost you a load of money to do either.
yeah.
Facebook groups, all
Especially
the
these days, there's so much out there, isn't there? There's so many like free resources out there nowadays that people really can, if they want it, they can find it.
exactly all these different communities that you can join. This is the bliss about social media, where you can join
Yeah,
in, sort of get support, get advice, all of that sort of thing. That is about self-doubt and self-worth. The financial thing, that's always going to be personal to people. Some
hmm,
people have got it, some people haven't got it, some people can't make that plunge, take that leap because they are restricted by finances. But again, don't try and build your empire overnight. Start with one little thing.
yeah,
For me, it was with the cleaning was just like, okay, I'm going to go and get a cleaning job. And,
yeah,
and I started to build it all up. So you've got very minimal outlay. And then you
hmm,
build it up, you build it up, build it up, and then your money starts to come in. And then you can now employ somebody. So now you can do twice as many jobs. Then you employ another one, 3 times as many jobs.
yeah,
But it
yeah,
started like that and it's grown like that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
the idea is to do that,
That's too
starting
big.
with a
Hmm.
little thing that's going to work your way up and have little branches coming off it.
100%.
Never be, if you're saying to yourself, I can't do this, the answer is not yet.
Yeah, 100%. And I've got
100.
one question that I always ask everybody because it's quite a wee bit emotional. But if you could go back and tell little Emma, whatever age that would be, one thing, what would it be?
Don't listen to the haters.
Mm,
Don't listen to them. It's their problem. It's not yours. People will always say something to you to put you down because they're the ones with the issues. Um,
hmm.
I would say that, and that'd be the first thing. And I would have said, "Why didn't you do this earlier?
Yeah,
Why didn't you do your entrepreneurship when you should have done at the age of
yeah.
20, 30 or something, when you probably got a bit more energy?" I mean, imagine where I'd be now. But
No,
that would be the thing. I'd say, go on, go for it. Do it now.
yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah,
not a conformist, so you don't need to go and do this. You don't need to go and do that. Go and do that because that's what you want to do. That's
yeah,
what
yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Your story is incredible. We could literally talk for days. I'm not even joking.
Oh, yes.
So it's been a fabulous episode. You're just such a joy. You've just got such a beautiful energy, and also we talked quite a lot about like being yourself, and you like genuinely are one of the most authentic people that I think I've ever met, and I think and it really comes across. And I think if that's a big thing. Like if you're trying to be something you're not, it's always going to feel a bit sticky. Whereas like you do have naturally like again, it's your natural energy, but like it's very obvious that you're just this is who I am, and that's what makes you like endearing, I feel like, and makes people want to be in your circle, and it's so beautiful. And I think if like there's been so many get takeaways from this conversation, but one that I would say is that like that authenticity is just so crucial, and not like a false authenticity, just like that's who I am. Like me or loathe me, I don't care, sort of a thing, and it's so crucial to that's such a big thing that I take away from you as a person is like you're just this is who I am, and I don't care what anybody's got to say about it, and two
Yeah.
fingers up to the rest of you if you don't like it, sort of a thing, and it's amazing though. So on that note, I'm going to say thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a beautiful conversation. If anybody wants to reach out to me or Emma, I will put our Instagram in the show notes. And yeah, where can people get you, Emma? That's the best place for
Get
people to
me
get
on
you.
Instagram, and then get me on Facebook, and then get me on LinkedIn. Yeah, I'm all over the
It's
place.
all your name, Emma Brambell.
Emma Brambell everywhere. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you
Mm.
so much. Speak to you
Thank you, Donna.
soon.
Thank you for having me. Bye.